This Week 15 player props and picks edition of the Stephie Smalls Show on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog. Underdog is hooking up new customers. Play just $5 and get $100 in bonus funds when you sign up with code SMALLS. Get access to all of our free picks and podcasts in one convenient place, the SGPN app. Download it for free in your app store. Just type in SGPN and let's yap.
Stephie touch balls, betting it all on the power bottom false top drop the football. Like hoops they've been teasing, they're missing the fall season. ACL twisted, bank account freezing, but Smalls cut the shots like some more reason. Leaderboard rising while the slot machine's ringing. She's slinging player stats like Nostradamus. $100 bills raining down upon us.
Happy Thursday. Hi, chat. I see you dragging me for being late. One of these times I'll be able to work a computer properly at my age, but it's a Thursday show. It's a prop show. We got to talk some Week 15 picks. Got to talk Survivor for those of you that are still in there. Ryan decided not to produce today, so we do have our friend Scott Reichel. He'll jump on at the end to talk props. But first, without further ado, you guys know him, Brady Kannon. He came on early. I mean, preseason, I think, from Sports Grid, Sports Line, CBS, Golf.com. I mean, he does all the things. And of course, the FB contest show. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Stephie. Thanks for having me back. How are you?
I'm good. How is your NFL season going?
Pretty well, knock on wood. Yeah. Okay. Just the picks, have been good. As far as contest play, it's been decent. We've got a shot to finish in the money, and, some things have to fall our way here the last 4 weeks. I know you're involved in Circa Million, so we can talk about that as well. Best luck to the both of us.
I know, 100%. Any takeaways from this season that seemed a little bit different than maybe past seasons?
I hated a couple of those weeks in October, and I think we had it in October of last year too, where all the favorites won. And I'm sure the sports books didn't like that very much either. But I tend to land on underdogs, and so those 2 weeks set us back quite a bit. Other than that, it's the typical unpredictable NFL, right?
Yeah.
Survivor contests and all this carnage. And, I asked a guy the other day, like, how's your NFL season going? And he's all, yeah, it's been a weird year. I'm like, come on, it's been a weird year. It's no different than any other weird year. Right. It's the NFL. So that's what we're faced with every year. Does any year go according to plan? No, that's why they play the games, right?
They all kind of have their differences in one way or another. For those that are still in Survivor, I did not do Survivor this year. Tim on X was asking me which of these teams are the scariest. It looks like he was looking at a lot of these bigger favorites at home, as a lot of people do. So he was looking at Philly, Chicago, San Fran, Seattle, Houston. Is there who stands out to you this week as far as Survivor goes?
There's a lot of candidates, as you reel off a few of them there. Yeah. And as you know, in Circa Survivor, there's only 10 entries left. That $1,000 ticket that you purchased over the summer is now worth $1.87 million, right?
Yeah.
5 entries have the Cowboys left. 6 have the 49ers left. I think that's going to be really popular. 8 have the Buccaneers left. They could go with that on Thursday night. 9 have the Eagles left. 3 have the Texans, 6 have the Jaguars, 1 entry has the Bears.
Okay.
I feel pretty good about the 49ers. I don't know if the Titans are going to win a second game in a row. I feel decent about the Cowboys. I feel pretty good about the Eagles. I don't think the Raiders are going to win another game all year.
Sure.
I don't see this particular week being ugly. I did not like the Buccaneers last week. You had 28 of the remaining 45 Circa entries on the Buccaneers. And of course they got wiped out. And I like the Saints. Steph, the Saints have owned the Bucs over the years, even when Tom Brady was there.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect them to win outright, but I liked them to cover the spread. And when teams cover the spread, a lot of times they win. So, but this week, I don't think there's going to be a lot of carnage this week. And the other thing is, with only 10 entries left and these tickets worth so much now, there's probably a chop agreement that has been arranged between.
Yeah, most likely. The thing with the Saints too is I say it all the time on the show. The Saints are not a team that look towards the draft. They're not proactive. They don't think proactively. They win games, and they do this a lot every single season. Maybe, they probably could use the higher draft pick, but they're just not that type of franchise. They're going to go out and they're going to try to win every single game. So that made me nervous last week as well. Why don't we take a look here at some of the spreads? Let's start talking about Circa. There's a lot of big spreads on the board, a lot of them, as I just mentioned, because that's what people are looking at there with the home favorites. Is there any that you like out of these double-digit spreads more than the other?
Yeah, good. There's a couple of them that are really weird this week because we're not really sure about quarterbacks. Like the Jacksonville Jaguars, is 13.5-point favorites or so. I don't think that would be the same number if we were convinced that Tyrod Taylor was going to be quarterback for the Jets. Yeah. I think that line is telling us it's going to be Brady Cook. This is a really weird spot for the Jaguars. Let me put Jacksonville on here. So Jacksonville last week, they play the Colts, right? Big division rival. Okay, now they play the Jets. Next week, they travel to Denver. Tough spot.
Okay.
And they travel to Indianapolis for another date with the Colts. And who's sitting there in between this unknown, 3-win team from New York called the Jets? This is like such a possible flat spot, I think, for the Jaguars. If Brady Cook wasn't at quarterback, I would love the Jets here. And maybe I'll still get to the window with New York. But it looks like a really weird spot in the schedule for Jacksonville. I think that the Chiefs are a bigger favorite than I probably would have made them. I just don't think the Chiefs are that great. The Niners situation is interesting, Steph.
It is.
The Tennessee Titans come off of a win. So are they going to win again? Probably not. But I like to bet against teams that go into their bye week on a roll. Because the last thing, when you're rolling and then you have to take a bye week, the last thing you need is a stop in the momentum, right?
Right, 100%.
The Niners had won 3 in a row, and now they have to stop. Now, at the same time, they get even healthier, which is a good thing for this team. But I still think that number is a little inflated. I would probably hold my nose and take the Titans and just hope they could stay within that number. The Seahawks and the Colts is super weird. I mean, is it going to be Phillip Rivers? It probably is.
Which is so crazy. It's so crazy.
Are you a Rivers fan? I loved Phillip Rivers.
I love Phillip Rivers, but I think part of this is and I kind of think we vaguely talked about this when you were on the show way back when, but people fall in love with these narratives and it's very easy to do. And I love this. This is fantastic. He's a grandfather. He's coming back. Hasn't played in 5 years. And I don't know if everyone remembers exactly what that looked like, but it wasn't pretty. It was a lot of emergency room balls, a lot of stuff that's not as it wasn't that and I'm going to be honest, he's got a little bit of a dad bod going on. He doesn't look like he's fully in football shape, but would I love for him to come in and cover this 100%? That's the type of story that's great for the game of football. But I think also it's enticing, to throw money on, a storyline like this.
You're right. And some people are suckers for that, right?
Right.
They have a permanent home on Narrative Street and they keep going back. But I'll tell you what, though, we were talking about Circa Sports Million and we're down to the last 4 weeks of the season. And if you're anywhere near the money but you need to make a move, there's probably going to be a lot of people on the Seahawks this week, right? The last thing you want to do is to join the majority. So if you're trying to make a move and spike up the leaderboard and get yourself into some of the cash, the Colts could be a really contrarian, against the grain play. And if they happen to cover, you're probably going to leapfrog a lot of people. So that's, contest theory, Steph, is the games you're playing in the contest are not always the same games you're running to the window to bet personally.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I've had a lot of luck the last couple of years. I don't know if it's necessarily luck, but I do like taking teams to cover when a quarterback gets their first start, whether that's a backup, whether it's a rookie coming in. We tend to see that team cover, and it's had a lot of success over the years. So it's an interesting angle. I might be able to convince producer Ryan to maybe we'll flirt with taking the Colts. We're not doing too well anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Before we talk a little bit more millions, we just partnered up with Kalshi, a real money prediction market, legal in 50 states. All 50 states, you can trade tons of markets in sports, including NFL, college football, and more. You can even listen. They have markets including politics, entertainment, even the weather. You can trade anything. So new Kalshi customers get $20 when they use promo code SGPN. That's Kalshi promo code SGPN. Underdog is your home for pick'em entries where you can win up to 5,000x. Here's a pick'em entry I like for this weekend. Fairburn higher, 1.5 field goals made. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Henderson higher, 9.5 first quarter rushing yards. Dart higher, 33.5 longest completion. And Dak, 37.5 longest completion higher as well. That gets you 8.1x your monies. Underdog's got a brand new offer for new customers. Play just $5 and get $100 in bonus funds when you sign up with code SMALLS. Taking a look at the rest of the board here, I think a game that stands out to me, maybe a little bit the number as well, but the Rams are favorites at home, -5.5. I see 6 is out there as well against the Lions. Jared Goff headed back to LA. Lions secondary pretty banged up. The one thing that the Lions do very well is run the ball. The Rams are very good at stopping the run. Do you lean one way or the other? Are you staying away from this game from a millions perspective? What are you thinking?
Yeah, this is a tough one. I think it's weird for people. I know it's weird for me to look at the Lions as like a 6-point underdog. But you said it. They're banged up. It's not just the secondary. It's the offensive line. It's it's the wide receivers. Laporta, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Brian Branch now.
Arnold, Kirby. It's all
and I'm bummed because I love the Lions. I didn't grow up a Lions fan or anything, but I've become a fan of watching this team. They're so cool to watch. And I really think these are probably the best 2 teams in the NFL, but for the Lions when they're healthy, and they're not. And so, I think the spread is probably justified. I think the Rams are just a machine right now.
Sure.
If I was going to play the game, I'd probably have to take the dog. And I also think that could be a strategic Circa Millions play because I think the majority will play the Rams here.
Sure. I think another game that is getting a lot of attention is Packers headed to Denver. Big game here. I mean, we could be looking at what the Super Bowl looks like then realistically here. Packers are 2.5-point favorites on the road. This home field advantage thing isn't really a thing anymore. Broncos Denver used to be one of those, Seattle used to, but we're not seeing it matter as much as of late. Total sitting at 42.5. Where do you lean this game? Because I said it on the show, I really have upset a lot of Broncos fans, but I'm still having a hard time fully getting behind it. I'm totally bought into their defense. But you look at the teams they've played, and there is an argument for maybe that's part of the success that they've had. They haven't lost since September. Packers do rely a lot on big plays, very big play dependent here. I think Broncos D can handle that. But what do you think about this game?
I went to the prop market on this one for you.
Yeah, cool. All right.
I know you're a prop fan. So I tried to dig a few up for you.
Let's do it.
And you talk about that Broncos defense. There's no doubt. I mean, if there's some holes you can poke in this Broncos team, it's certainly on the offensive side of the ball. Bo Nix, he can be a little bit inconsistent. We saw that a couple weeks ago against the Washington Commanders. But I think Jordan Love under 223.5. That's the number I saw. 223.5 passing yards. I'd go under because, you talk about home field advantage. I do believe that it is still real when you're at 5,500 feet, right? That's different. And conversely, it's real when you're in Lambeau Field and it's 3 degrees, So it exists at those 2 stadiums. And I think it'll be something different for the Packers coming in here. It's out of conference, obviously out of division. I'm a little bit surprised that the Packers are favored. The numbers would tell you that that's the right team favored here. I think the public will be jumping on the Broncos for that exact reason because they're wondering why the Packers are favored here. But I think the passing prop under on Jordan Love, I expect that defense to give him fits. This is the number 1 team in the league as far as sacking the quarterback are the Denver Broncos.
Sure.
I would probably lean under the total because both of these defenses are really good. I think it'll be tough for either of these teams to score. I haven't made my decision yet, but I definitely lean Broncos here. You know, a home dog. This is unfamiliar territory for them as an underdog, especially at home. I'd probably be. And the other thing that's really weird too, Steph.
Yeah.
The Green Bay Packers come off of a great win last week against their arch rival, the Chicago Bears. Okay, now they got to travel to face another really good team in Denver. And who do they play next week? They got to go back to Chicago to take on the Bears again.
That's crazy.
This is a weird spot in the schedule. So I'd be leaning
spot.
Broncos here. Broncos under, Jordan Love under passing yards.
Yeah, I'll probably I didn't take a look at too many props for this game. I probably will take a look at the Broncos tight ends because we have seen the Packers be a little bit susceptible to the tight end position. So that might be an angle in the direction that I go with that game. What other props are you looking at as far as this slate before I start wrapping up, letting you get out of here?
Sure. Let's see. Cardinals and Texans.
Sure.
I think that line looks pretty big. The Cardinals tend to keep games close. I know they didn't last week, but I think Jacoby Brissett over his rushing yards. And I didn't see it posted yet. It'll come out eventually, obviously, I would think. But I think he's going to be running for his life against this pass rush. I think he'll have to rush the ball. Browns and Bears. I talked about that scheduling spot for Jacksonville. A really weird scheduling spot for the Bears. They go and play Green Bay. And then, of course, next week they play Green Bay again. And then after that, they travel to San Francisco. And wedged here in between is an out-of-conference weird little game against the lousy Cleveland Browns, you know, and here the Bears are favored by more than a touchdown. Yeah. I think the Browns could be a sneaky play here. And I'll take Shedeur Sanders over 181 and a half passing yards.
Yeah, it was
the Bears pass defense is lousy. Jordan Love showed us all that last week.
Yeah, absolutely. I see one book has Jacoby's rushing yards at 9.5.
Oh yeah, I love it. I was thinking 17 or something.
Yeah, some alt potential there, going to like a 20 even. You probably get a nice little plus on that. And you said the Sanders. Absolutely love that. What is that spread also something that interests you? Do you think that the Browns can keep it close and cover that 7.5?
Scheduling spot, right? I do. Sure. I think the scheduling spot is so poor for the Jaguars and the Bears this week. It's just that spot they can totally slip on when the game prior and the games coming up are much more important. Ravens and Bengals, I think, is a really interesting game. I think Derrick Henry over 19.5 yards for his longest rushing attempt. I like that one. Isaiah Likely, you talk about tight ends, Steffi. Cincinnati has trouble with tight ends. Isaiah Likely over 37.5 receiving yards. Giants and Commanders. I think Marcus Mariota will rush the football. We've seen Dan Quinn go to that strategy. Over 30.5 rushing yards for Mariota. And then finally, 18 degrees on Monday in Pittsburgh is the high. Tua Tagovailoa, that is not his environment. I'll take under 18.5 completions. I think he hands the ball to Achane and is not throwing the ball a whole lot. Tua Tagovailoa on Monday night.
I like that quite a bit. I was looking in that game to get some reception numbers on Freiermuth. I didn't see anything. The Dolphins have been giving up quite a few receptions to the opposing tight ends. You mentioned Likely. I absolutely love that. I have that written down here in my notes. I like his over 34.5 receiving yards and even over his 3.5 receptions plus 144. Like you said, I mean, the numbers are just objectively a little better for Andrews. Like I think you're getting a little bit more value, and I think they both can have a good game. So I'm just going to go with the other tight ends here. Likely's anytime touchdown is plus 235. I know that Andrews. Yeah. I know all the red zone targets are going to him. I know his numbers like triple the other tight ends. But I think that's worth a look. I mean, you look at since he's giving opposing tight ends are averaging 1.2 touchdowns a game. It's not pretty.
Take a shot with Likely.
Average 7.5 receptions per game to the opposing tight end. They're giving up the most receiving yards. So you got to take a shot here. I wouldn't fight anyone on taking Andrews either. And then Derrick Henry, I actually like his over 7.5 receiving yards as well.
Yeah. I mean, that's one catch, right?
Right. Exactly. His longest, I think it's his longest actually. His longest at over 7.5. And I'll probably throw that if I do some parlays when I do those. He's gone over this in 5 straight, and he also had 44 yards versus Cincy 2 weeks ago. So I'm totally cool.
Yeah, likely I think had close to 100 yards receiving in that Thanksgiving game.
Yeah,
and that's not really what I want to base this on. It's more about Cincinnati's inability to cover tight ends. And you know, to your point, Mark Andrews is going to get all the attention. He's the marquee name. Yeah. And the betting public is going to gravitate towards him. Meanwhile, Isaiah Likely's, you know, under the radar. And those are the type of guys I like to bet on for props.
Any other spreads you want to mention? Any other bets you want to give out before we wrap up and let you get out of here? I'm excited because we're approaching like the new golf. I just got the email for my new fantasy golf year. So I'm excited to be able to get you on to talk golf later.
I hit Hideki Matsuyama in the Bahamas last week. Yes.
Congratulations. That's awesome. Sweet.
Yeah. 23-1. So that was a nice way to finish up the season.
It's a great way to close out.
I mentioned the Browns and the Jets. The Jets is, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get there with Brady Cook, but I definitely like that spot for the Jets. I like the Commanders. We talked about Mariota. I mean that Giants. I know you're a Giants fan. I hate to do this to you, but what's going on there? Kafka's firing people.
I don't know.
That's a weird one. There was one other one. I thought I liked against. I kind of like the Steelers on Monday night too. We talked about Tua and under on the completions.
Yeah.
Obviously, the temperature is not, his style. We've seen them lose to Kansas City in the frigid cold. We've seen them lose to Buffalo in the frigid temperatures. And TJ Watt goes to the hospital today, with a bad lung. I hope everything's okay. Whether he plays or not, I think this could be a win-one for TJ type game where the rest of the team really rallies around this story and steps up. And, he's obviously a heart and soul hero type guy of that team. And it could be a good situation for Pittsburgh.
Yeah. I'll ask you about one more before I let you get out of here. Saints at Panthers.
I don't have a great answer for you.
I know, but this line is, are we getting a little too giddy about the Saints?
Yes.
Shock, because this feels like to me, just shut your eyes and bet the Panthers at -3.
Do you remember the last time the Panthers were a favorite in like the last 5 years or whatever? It was this season.
Yes.
Favored against guess who? The Saints, and they lost outright.
Okay.
But here's the weird situation for me. I mentioned that I like to bet against teams when they go into their bye on a roll, because the last thing they need is that stop in the momentum. Well, the Panthers just come off of the game of the century in beating the Rams, and then they go on a bye week. What did they work on in their bye week? Did they just pat themselves on the back and say, "Hey guys, we just beat the Rams, nothing to work on here"? And then the Saints, meanwhile, come off of a win over the Buccaneers. So both of these teams could let down a little bit. I don't know what to do with that one, Steph.
Yeah. And Saints
it's the NFC South. Stay away. The NFC South is a bad drug. Yeah. It's awful. It's an underachieving division. The Falcons, I mean, this division is really, I think it's the most unpredictable of all divisions in football.
Yeah. Saints 1-5 against the spread at home. Don't love it. I think people will be eager to take Saints. I think I will probably end up on the Panthers here. You were fantastic. Why don't you let people know where they can find you, find your work? And then I'll let you get out of here. I appreciate you jumping on with me.
Yeah, let's do it again. Golf season, about 6 weeks away?
We're close.
So you can find me at CBS Sportsline. All my football and golf stuff is up there. Also on Sports Grid on air just about every day. I'm over there. So, and then of course on Twitter at Las Vegas Golfer.
Awesome. I appreciate you. I will let you get out of here. Good luck this week.
Yeah, good luck to you too. Have a good one.
See ya. We're brought to you by Novig. Novig is America's #1 sports prediction market. Novig, you're getting the best prices. Download the Novig app and get $50 when you spend $5 if you use our promo code SGPN. Get in on the action with Novig, promo code SGPN. Rhythm has absolutely crushed the NFL this season, especially on props. They've been so good at identifying when to fade players and take those unders. It's super easy to sign up, run predictions off the house model, or make your own and play with the sliders. We're going to roll with something for tonight. It's Return of the Evans. Why not? Over 3.5 receptions plus 108. They have a win probability of 75.4%. The prop model is predicting a little bit drama here, 5.5. Use promo code SGPN25 when you download the Rhythm app for 25% off your first month. Download Rhythm. Use promo code SGPN25. Now it's Scott Reichel is going to jump on. We're going to talk some more props. If you haven't liked this video, do that. Subscribe, rate, review. If you're listening on the podcast, Scott, congratulations. 1,000 episodes on the NBA pod. Is that what we...
Yeah, we did the 1,001st episode today. So
yeah.
It feels good to get through an obstacle there. I wasn't around for all of them. I was around for about 800 or so most of the way. But happy to once again reach a milestone. Always nice.
Yeah. Awesome. You do. Oh, you know what I went to? I went to the Garden Cup. I meant to text you. I went to the garden. I think it's time I put tennis into my rotation here.
I've been hearing you say this before.
I'm officially locked in though.
Okay.
I had so much fun, and now it has to become something that I bet on.
Okay. Welcome aboard.
Great. I'm excited. You can help me. We can do some hand holding. I don't know what I'm going to be doing, but I'm going to love it. And it was like absolutely a blast here. Want to give me a prop that you like? We can go back and forth. I have a few left that I like. Let's hear what you're looking at.
Sure. So I'll start off with the Bengals game against the Ravens. I'll go with Chase Brown over 19.5 receiving yards at -110. I took it in the first meeting and ended up getting there pretty easily on Thanksgiving. But he's had at least 23 receiving yards in 5 of his last 6. He had 7 catches for 35 yards against Baltimore. And that was a very bad game script later on because the Bengals were leading basically the entire game. Still familiar with that number. And the Ravens have been allowing a bunch of receiving yards to running backs this season, 5th most in the entire league. So I like the actual matchup. Brown, we know, is a very solid receiving back. I think he'll be able to do some damage like he did in the first meeting in a couple of ways. But I do think 19.5 receiving yards is nothing for a running back that's very comfortable catching passes out of the backfield. Give me the over at -110.
You have any feelings on that game and that spread at all? What is it sitting at now? I haven't even looked at the updated number. Let's see. What do we got here? Bengals 3-point underdogs at home.
Yeah, so I can't stand the Ravens because they should be better than they are. The Bengals can't stop anybody defensively, but we know Joe Burrow's Joe Burrow. I am going to go with the Ravens personally, but there's no chance I would actually trust them enough to bet on really either team in this spot. But I do think the Ravens will get the job done here, but I'm not going to bet it. I can't stand Baltimore. I'm really not a big Harbaugh guy. I understand that, he gets this reputation being a great coach and all, but there are so many winnable games that his teams just don't win. And I have to blame some of that on coaching, don't I?
Yeah, it's true.
So I'd rather not bother. Just give me
That's the same thing. And the other thing is, like, even Zach Taylor, like, if he's not gone this year, I don't know what you're doing because you can't keep putting up that many points and not winning games, too.
Yeah. So once again, I do think it's a bit different, though, because I think that most NFL fans are lower on Taylor than they are.
That's true. That's very fair because he carries the name. Did you freeze on me? Maybe I froze. One of us froze.
Buffalo in week 1.
Yeah.
And you kind of just wonder, if you're that good of a coach, why do you constantly blow massive leads in the fourth quarter?
Yeah,
I'd rather not bother. So once again, just give me some props.
Yeah, love it. Everyone's going to hate this. I don't really care if you guys hate it. I'm going to keep betting it if they keep like having this number so low. Jackson Dart is not changing the way he plays football. Whether you guys like it or not, it's just not going to happen. He said he's not doing it. The number is unchanged from last week. Give me over 27.5 rushing yards, -115. I would shop around. There's 29.5s out there, 30.5s out there. There was no RPOs designed for him last week, but it was the first game also back from concussion. He still rushed 4 times for 20 yards. You're not going to be able to stop him. I just think 27.5 is still a low number for a guy that can take off and is very willing to run and is a very aggressive football player.
Yeah, he also refuses to go out of bounds. So he's going to be going for extra yards.
Yeah, right. And this is a good situation for him versus the Commanders where I see him going over this number.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty low number for a guy that's mobile. Yeah. And as you said before, a guy that is willing to run no matter how many concussions he gets.
I mean, this number before he got hurt was opening at like 40.5, 35.5. So yeah, well, I'm still getting a 27.5. I'll take it.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. I'm going to go with a veteran that's not named Phillip Rivers that is still in the league. but a guy who I think has been washed for a couple of years, Adam Thielen. I'm going to take his longest reception under 10.5 yards at -110. If you want to just go for the yards or the receptions, that's fine too for the unders, but I'll go for the longest. He was on the field for allegedly 48% of the snaps last week for Pittsburgh. I didn't notice him about 98% of the time, but he had one catch for 4 yards. They signed him as a last-second receiver addition to hope he provided a spark. He can't really move if you watch him play. He doesn't create separation anymore. He seems to be a pure check down or security blanket, if anything. But I don't think he really has anything left in the tank. 10.5 yards is a lot of yards for basically a check down guy who's not on the field for basically half the time. Give me Thielen to go under the 10.5 longest catch. -110, I just think it's a good price.
They also just like have better options to get
100%.
down. Like there's just no reason for Adam Thielen to be having to catch a pass of over 10.5 yards. Like,
I mean, Thielen was on another team. They let him go, and then he ended up going to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And I feel like people kind of mocked the signing at the time because Pittsburgh was so desperate for receiver help. They got a former Pro Bowler who has nothing left in the tank. So I'll keep fading Thielen.
Yeah. My next one here, TreVeyon Henderson over 44.5 rushing yards, -115, as well as his longest rush over 12.5, -110. Honestly, a little suspicious how low these numbers are set, considering the Bills' run defense is pretty much bathwater, ranking 31st in opponent rush EPA. They're allowing 5.1 yards per, and then 6th most rushing yards allowed to opposing running backs this season. Since taking over this backfield, it's just like Henderson has been the guy who's gone over his rushing yards 6 straight weeks, rushing for at least 55 yards. He actually went over his longest the last time they played the Bills in the beginning of the season, which is funny because he was not getting the ball nearly as much. And he's gone over his longest 2 of the last 4. So give me TreVeyon Henderson over the rushing yards and over the longest rush.
Yeah, I'll throw in a kicking prop because I have to on the show. I'm gonna go back to the Bengals game. I'll take Tyler Loop. I'll go with the over 1.5 field goals there at -107. Yeah, the Ravens have been kicking a bunch of field goals lately. He's made at least 3 field goals in 4 of his last 5. The Ravens, despite having Henry and Lamar, their red zone touchdown percentage is atrocious. Their short yardage stuff has been really bad, especially over the last couple weeks. So the Ravens have the 3rd worst red zone touchdown percentage in the entire league. And Harbaugh's been quite aggressive on 4th downs in the past. Recently, he's been pivoting a bit more to kicking, because he can't stand this damn red zone offense. So I do expect potentially a short field goal or 2. Bengals defense, we know, is atrocious. They've allowed at least 26 points in 11 of their last 12. Ironically, the one exception, Baltimore on Thanksgiving. But I'm expecting a better effort from them. It's mainly the price. The fact is the Ravens, I think, can score against this defense despite not doing so the first time around. Loop at -107 for 2 field goals when he's made 3+ in 4 of the last 5 games. I just think it's a great price. Give me a Loop over 1.5 field goal.
Yeah, love it. James Cook over 2.5 receptions +134 on the Blue Book. 3 catches in 4 of the last 5. New England allowing the 4th most receptions to opposing running backs this season. And let's run it back another week. I think I don't even know how many weeks in a row I've given this out, but over 9.5, longest reception -110. He's gone over 4 of the last 6 and 2 straight. I just like playing James Cook in anything receiving. It seems to get the job done.
No, it's a fantasy playoffs. I could use a big game from James Cook.
There you go. I got you.
I appreciate it. My last play I'll mention, because it does involve my team. I'm going to go with Trevor Lawrence, no picks at -125. He's had no picks in 3 of his last 4 home games. And my Jets, it's week 15. Do you know exactly how many interceptions the Jets defense has this season?
0, right?
That is correct. The answer is the same as us.
Yeah, but I think it has to come to an end. I think Trev throws one. I think
it would be fitting if Lawrence was the first guy to do it. Yeah. But conceptually, if a play is 14-0, blindly fading this defense, or like 13-0, and you have a chance at getting the same trend to continue at -125, sure. Plus, you might have another Cook at quarterback for the Jets. They might get destroyed in this game. There's a decent chance the Jaguars have the same script as they did against Riley Leonard last week, which is we're up a ton, run the ball the entire 4th quarter. The game's over quickly. There's a chance that game script is so positive that Lawrence barely attempts passes in the second half. I see a great script. I see once again a great trend. The Jets defense with 0 interceptions the entire season.
How does
-125.
You can't even fucking luck into one? That's bad.
Not even like a deflection. They have more kick return touchdowns than interceptions.
I can't.
Which is crazy. But yeah, based on principle, give me Trevor Lawrence, no picks, -125.
I love it. I have 2 more longest receptions here, and then we'll wrap up. Devontae Adams, longest reception over 22.5, -120. If you want to take Puka's, just take the 30+ because betting it at whatever the hell they are setting it at is not worth it anymore. He's gone over 2 of the last 3. He did not hit last week, but as I've talked about, the Lions secondary is very banged up right now. When he goes over 30+ yards, this usually is going over. So I think only twice did he not catch a pass over the 22-yard mark, and 11 games that he got over 30 yards here. So give me Devontae Adams over his longest, and then T-Mac over 21.5, -115. He's hit 4 straight. He went over this versus the Saints last time. And the Panthers are just doing their hardest right now. And I think that this is a good chance for them here to do it in the name of friendship or whatever's going on over there.
That might be enough to get the job done. Yeah, that division is kind of a circus, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a circus.
There's
a lot of circus stuff going on in the NFL right now.
Yep, definitely.
And college football.
College football too, but for different reasons. With the playoff and with the Michigan stuff.
That's just absurd. There's absurd stuff going on. But the timeline is always very funny when something like this happens or Jalen Hurts sucks.
All the above.
All the above. It's fantastic.
2 turnovers on 1 play.
I still have yet to see it because I want to see it I was at the Garden Cup, but I want to see it in like the wild. I want it to pop up on my timeline. I don't know why I haven't seen it yet. I'll have to just YouTube it so I can.
I don't know if you missed the actual algorithm time period where it just, appeared everywhere and then it was just gone. Like that.
I was too locked into the fucking bunny.
Do you have any regrets on that?
What, the bunny?
Yeah.
No.
So then there you go. It's fine. Priorities.
But like the bunny, it's still, I don't actually think they're getting enough shit for the fucking bunny. Why did you put an Easter bunny in the fucking locker room? I don't understand. I still don't understand.
It's a positivity rabbit, isn't it?
Oh, what the fuck? It said Happy Easter.
That I saw too. That part confused me too.
I still, again, don't think they're getting enough shit. Someone needs to be fired, whoever put the bunny in. The bunny's so weird. You're Eagles. Why didn't you get like a blow up eagle?
Yeah, or any type of
or not something blown up for grown adults playing in the NFL. Like I
just think it aged worse because of the fact that their quarterback turned the ball over 5 times. Yeah, that didn't really help. But
it doesn't.
Yeah, look, the Eagles. It looks like by all accounts they're in free fall.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that other teams around the league needed extra proof they're in free fall. You bring in the positivity rabbit. Oh no, like Sirianni might just be a dead man walking at this point if they can't turn this around. It's a mess.
The bunny is I could sit here and talk about that fucking bunny forever. I won't do that. Let people know where they can find you, what's coming up next. And we'll get out of here. Like, rate, review the podcast. And we'll get out of here when Scott lets you know what he has coming up, what the deal is, when's the prop. You guys have been crushing it over there, the Propcast.
Yeah, did a prop show yesterday for Thursday Night Football. That game hasn't started yet, so if you want some thoughts on that, check out that episode. Did some NBA, NHL stuff today on the Propcast as well. Episode tomorrow, going through the Week 15 props. Spoiler, going to repeat pretty much all the ones I just gave out on this show. But if you want to hear it again, with some jokes thrown in, you can check out the Propcast tomorrow. Besides that, NBA, doing that show multiple times a week. NBA, SGPN. Tennis starting back up in about a week. You have the next gen event starting up, so happy about it, and I'll be doing an episode or 2 on that. And besides that, keep them busy.
Love it. We will get out of here. I'll throw any of my additional plays I talked about because there's a few lines I didn't get to see. Get those up on X, and I will see you guys on Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern. We will see you then.
Stephie Smalls Show, sports gambling. Play some bets on winners and catastrophe. If you want to know where to put the money, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday is the place to be.